Thank you, Sparky. Somebody I can look up to, but that's because, you know. So like, one of the things that really kind of inspired the seminars, I always get asked, actually, let me see this. Can we get the music cut off for a second? Electronic. Can we get the music cut off for a second? Thanks, boss. So one of the things that I like to do is obviously I like to share and post everything on Facebook, you know. I always get a lot of people asking me, well, how do you go from this and this large rig to this and this large rig and still maintain your brand? Branding is the most important thing that we do. Above everything, above emceeing and lighting, we are businessmen. And obviously you want to brand yourself. So as you watch the seminar or listen to me out, whatever you want to call it, I want you to kind of talk amongst yourself and think, what's my brand going to be? When we started 4 Schools Only and My Dream Reception and everything within our company, because we have different sectors, each one has their own brand, but they ultimately still have one center brand. So when people walk into a room, they know, oh, that's A Premier Entertainment. So we do things not necessarily differently, but we put our own spin on things, so that way people know that it's always us. On top of that, seminar's going to cover different kind of lighting rigs, different ways to maximize your lighting, and not even sell it to your client too. So the primary question, again, the thing about the seminar is, how do you go from something like this? This was one of my homecomings, and this is one of the larger homecomings, 56-foot video wall, controlled with Arcades. There's about 180 feet of trussing, just an insane amount of lights in there. And the very next day, I had a small homecoming like this. The question is, how do you go from something like that and still be able to keep your brand? So there's a few different You know what he always says, keep your menu simple. Now that can be applied for lighting a little bit. If you're going into a wedding and you have 45 different kinds of lighting effects, it's going to look jumbled. It's going to look, I hate saying it, but like a typical cheesy light show. You want to find something clean, something organized. I'm not saying buy less lighting, because we have hundreds and hundreds of fixtures, but we have a specific type of fixture. For example, in this show here, you know, the one on the right-hand side, I could have brought moving heads and beam effects and lasers and, you know, flying dots and, you know, whatever we wanted to bring out. But we kept it simple. We said, you know what, we're just going to do moving heads. We're going to do a few different black light effects, strobes, and then on the corners, let me moving head here, a couple of special like your black lights and your strobes. The exact same show was used the following week. Oops, there we go, on the left-hand side. So we kept the 2 same dots because I needed to flood a large area. But this was a smaller school. They didn't have the money for trussing and everything like that. So we kept it simple. We put 2 moving heads. We put the floods. We put the strobe light on top, and it was still the same kind of show with the same programming. Now that leads me to our next one. Building your brand, programming. Programming should be something vital for you. DMX. Awesome. When you do DMX, there's 4 different ways. You can program for your songs. You can do what we call cues for each individual scene. I do a little bit of combination. Some songs we have programs to, not a lot of them, because songs always keep changing. I'll spend 20 minutes programming to one song. That song's out because Lil Wayne came out with something else. No bueno. So we don't program for songs specifically, but we use cues. But then we also have specific gobos that we have custom made for us that we move around the room. So when people walk in at a school dance or something and they see the custom gobos and the custom design of the moving heads, and with a click of a button, all of a sudden the whole room looks different. That's a little bit of what helps with our branding. Why? Because nobody else in our area does something like that. You got to go to Disney. Disney will program stuff for you. The average mobile DJ won't. So we do things like that to make it easier. My Conklin Show seminar is actually going to show you how you can literally reprogram an entire show in 5 seconds without having to spend all your time working on each individual light. Most important part about establishing your brand and making yourself unique when it comes to lighting is the least noticed thing by people, except when it's not done right, and that's cable management. My wife does this better than anybody else I've ever met. Our cable management, and again, this is a large show. We're hanging. We want to make sure you don't see cables hanging everywhere, that they're not dangling all over. And I'll say this with permission because I asked him if I could bring this up in the seminar. One of the guys that I was helping you know, people were criticizing him on his cable setup. And that's because he was going from truss to truss with a cable hanging, and then he hung a light on that cable. Please don't do that. That's a bad thing. But I mean, keep your cables clean. You know, like for example, and we did this one, left it loose so you can see it. I mean, yeah, the cable, it's not really that noticeable, but it's hanging there. When you make it virtually invisible, it looks cleaner. It looks neat. People should be able to walk, look at the lighting, and not see a huge spider web. If it looks like Spider-Man got in there and made a mess, that means you didn't do your job right as far as cable management, making it look pretty. It's a little bit different when you're rigging your lights way up high where nobody can see them. But unless you guys are doing your trussing 20, 30 feet up in the air, keep your presentations looking clean. Next part about building your light show and also building your brand is, again, selecting those few fixtures. So when you look at around the showroom, kind of focus, what are the 10 or maybe 10 different lights that I really like, and then narrow it down from there. For us, it came down to building our light show, and we started with the floods. So again, as I discussed the different fixtures and what supports what, you want to make sure that you have a good basic foundation. Now, my foundation, of course, starts with floods, because when I weddings and they have a beautiful room that's all, let's say for example they're doing a winter wonderland theme, and the whole room is solid white and blue, and it's not bright enough because there's no floods. Now you turn on the hotel lights, there's nothing wintry or wonderlandy about having those yellow hotel lights everywhere. So when I did a winter dance a while back and they wanted all blue, when we did our floods, we had our floods in a nice solid blue, but then we also had our freaks, which are these strobes right here, I'll show you in a second, in a solid white. So when we did stuff like the king and queen entrance, or even for weddings, when you do the grand entrance, you turn those on a nice bright white, bounce them off the ceiling, and you no longer have that yellow halogen light. You have a nice true white light. As you're looking at your floods, remember, these are your most important lights. Flood is not just your flood, it's also your uplight. It's going to be your spot if you want to use it as a pin spot. Let me grab these over here. See me after my seminar tonight or today, and I'll show you the LSF filters, or somebody here can. If you've not seen these are amazing. This little filter right here, an QWH5, 4 of them. No joke, and I'll show you the videos later on. I can flood 600 high school students and still have the hotel lights off with only 4 floods and 4 of these. This one here, for example, shapes it to a 60-degree beam. So now you can take that one car can, and instead of doing an uplight, you can now do a wall wash. So again, your floods are going to be your most important and often your most overlooked fixture. You also want to find something that is easy for you to set up, that's consistent. The QWH5s, you can, if you don't want remote control, or you can do the pre-select colors in there. So when we're sending it out for floods and the next day we have uplights, we don't have to reprogram everything. And again, versatile fixture will kind of help you with a lot of last-minute improv. The wedding that you see here, we came up with this design in about 2 minutes. It was supposed to be outside. We were going to have these up on T-stands. It was going to be really pretty. We're going to wash the whole area out. For those of you not familiar with Florida, we don't pay attention to the weather because they're wrong 99% of the time. It was not supposed to rain at all, so of course it rained. So we had to move everything inside. The bride's like, okay, is the lighting design going to work? I'm like, yes, but we can do something a little bit different. So we came up with all this last minute. We took all the and we used them as uplights. We took the 60x1 filters. You notice how really thick or how thin and sharp that beam is instead of a wash. That's because we took that LSF out and we put the 60x1. And again, I'll give you a demo on that in a bit. Again, your floods, that's your most overlooked fixture that I've always seen. Next, you have what I call complementaries. To me, that's just a fancy word for scanners, or things that you put in pairs. So whether it's a scanner, or it's a moving head, or if you have a series of wallflowers, whatever comes in pairs, I call that complementary. That is what's going to be on 90% of the show along with your floods. Meaning, for example, when you're doing a slow song, you create action and movement and exciting. The strobe light's not going to do that. You can't do it with a UFO type light. So what can you create that awesome, nice, elegant effect? A scanner. But as soon as that's over, now we're going into a fast song, you can quickly make a move. So to me, those are the most versatile fixtures used 90% of the time. When you go into the complementaries, I call them, do you want to go into a scanner or a moving head? When I first started, and I'll cover this on my moving head seminar, but I never used moving heads. Why? Because what we needed for something like this, I didn't want moving heads hitting behind me and my entire area. I just wanted to go from here to here. But now with DMX software like CompuShow, I can tell it, don't hit my area, don't hit this area. And moving heads are a lot more versatile now. I'm going to show you actually something really cool that I was saving for the other seminar, but YOLO, let's do this now. This is called the follow spot. Give me 1 second to activate it. Okay, so we have all the moving moving heads hitting this spot right here. Let me kind of jump. This is not made for short people. So let's say the bride and groom are dancing over here, right? And then they're going to go over to the cake table. What happens the moment that all the moving heads that you programmed to be here, and you just grab the joystick and you move them over here? Do you know what happens? They're all going to be in different areas, right? Why? Because they were in, they're all in different positions, the iris size is different, etc. So with a little bit of programming and a really awesome feature from CompuShow that we like to call Follow Spot, I did this in about 10 minutes. I can literally grab the line, the pitch shot stoppers because I'm out of bounds. And no matter which spot I hit it, and I'm moving the slide with my finger, it always hits the same area. So this means that how do you establish your brand? Well, when everybody else is doing a follow spot, so if the follow spot is here, everybody on the other side, all they see is silhouette. Or anybody in your area offering a 360-degree follow spot. You can be the first doing that, and it doesn't take that much to do it. As a matter of fact, there'll be a video on how to do the follow spot really soon as well, probably in the next week or so. All right, let's go back over here. Next one are your special. I'm sorry, I skipped one. Your centerpiece is pretty obvious. What's going to be your centerpiece like? This isn't one that should be used all the time. It's the one that you really want to add in there for that extra pizzazz. For a more elegant dance, you may want to use a disco ball. For a lot of the school dances, I like to use the Accu UFO or the new Busy Roller. And in case you have not seen the Busy Roller, this is pretty nifty. I mean, they've been running around everywhere, but that's in those spots. Might help if I actually hit the right ones. So again, the Rizzy Roller, you can do a lot of really cool stuff with it. That's going to be my new favorite centerpiece. The nice sharp beams are completely different than the beams on the EnoSpot Pro. Let's go over here. So again, you can see how they nicely work together, and I just put it right now in just a quick, easy show. The centerpiece, it's supposed to complement your complementaries. Don't just have that random thing that doesn't match everything else. It matches our brand because we want everything to look good and be consistent in some way, shape, or form. Now, I'm not saying this is the way you have to do it, but you want to make sure that however you design your show, that it is your brand. And when I'm doing a school presentation, if you're watching my videos, I always talk about bringing light to distract them, something to show them what you can do. For me now, that is the UV Go, because it's battery powered. So I turn that sucker on, and they see the whole room glowing. They're like, oh, that's so cool. I tell them, well, imagine what we can do with the big black lights that we have, like the UV16s or the Ecos or the new Eco DMX. So we sell a lot of money on the black lights, these strobe effects, stuff like the quad phases, just things that create a very special type of pizzazz. These are the lights that you can upgrade on. And of course, nowadays it's lasers, Thanks to people like Disney or Universal Studios incorporating lasers into everything they do, more and more schools and now weddings are asking us to do that sort of thing as well. So for our company to help build our brand, we've come up with 4 types of shows. Not necessarily 4 setups because we have an unlimited number. We have 4 types of shows that we do. So let's break show types. First is the micro system. This is my favorite. This is we don't have any money for lights, but we don't want it to look dark in there. It's literally as simple as taking 2 of the, for example, I have the QA5s right there, the Wi-Fi ones. They're bolted on the speaker, because most speakers nowadays have rigging points in them, so they're bolted on there. And either with this handy-dandy remote control, or the Wi-Fi RGBW8C, I can control the lights right then and there. Let me show you what that looks like. Oh, maybe. Oh, that's my because I'm not plugged in. Good thing I've done this before, right guys? Another important part of building your brand is making sure you hooked up your laptop correctly. So again, just very simple on top of the speakers, easy way to do it. Now the great thing about this is I have this live show set up in about 30 seconds because it's all battery powered. So again, that's my ultra micro system. This is as simple as we get. Then we have our compact system. Let me turn you guys around to my awesome T stand that I build right here. Other than the fact that there's a micro Sky versus the Royal Sky, this is the exact same thing that I bring out to some of the middle schools or super small Sweet 16s, that kind of stuff. And it's very simple. There's no DMX. Some of you guys don't want to get into DMX yet, and that's okay. DMX can be a scary thing. And it's very simple. With this, I can control the lights. I can choose what color. I can make them strobe. I can have certain ones on. It gives you a whole bunch of different options. With this remote, I can go up here and turn either one or both UV goes. And then I can just go over here and select my clock phases. It's a nice clean show because with this remote, I can also disable the audio. I just have light on, and now I have like one of the things we do with this call, if you have it with a DJ, most of those beats aren't even beating the crowd. And something like this, I can create a disco ball effect when I can't hang a disco ball for one reason or another. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll let that one roll. I want to see how long that UV go lasts before it shuts off on me. So again, let me show you what that looks like at a middle school. Now I have the lights mounted on top of the speakers similar to the micro system. The quad phase HPs have beautiful coverage. And the Royal Sky, of course. Now most middle schools don't pay, which is why Four Schools only doesn't give out middle schools, but this was a weekday thing, couple hours, $600. Then I rolled that down because that stands on wheels, rolled it into the van, stood it right back up, drove to the next middle school. We had the floods right there. And all this was done with zero DMX, only with a remote control. So again, just with a little bit of forethought, you can create an absolute amazing live show, even if you're not ready to delve into DMX. Next, we're going to go into the medium show. Now, this is what we call in our company straight stick. As the name suggests, it's a stick of trussing, a certain length, held up by a couple different stands. Now, the great thing about this one is it's a very versatile show. The last 4 weeks, I've been using a of, what they won by. The other great thing about this particular setup, again, it's easy, it's compact. Depending on, what you do, the money can be the same with what you charge. I'm going to charge this and this much. Oh, you want custom programming? It's going to be this and this much. And then you can show your client what the difference of that is. But again, this pretty much covers everything that we have on there. It's got the floods. We have our special effects. We've got our complimentaries. We get that set up in a matter of a minute or a matter of a couple hours, and then we are good to go. Before, it used to take us forever to set it up because we were on the taller type. I don't know if you guys know this. I know it's kind of fooling, but I'm actually short. Surprise, surprise. And we don't like having to get up on a chair and get down. So by using these stands right here, they go really low. We can get in there, not worry about getting up on a chair. Makes the setup much nicer on our back. Last but not least is a setup like this. Something what you're seeing here can be brought out to a school dance. Now, if you're a wedding or something like that, because I've brought, big setups to weddings too. And the thing I always hear from people is like, we've gotten to where we are in about closer now to 7 years. If you've ever heard the story of Four Schools Only, we never started a school dance company. Our big system is called the Digital DVD Experience. It was ghetto fabulous. It was 2 7-foot video screens, just a 10x10 trussing, and we didn't have video mixing consoles back then. So it was a Radio Shack A and B switcher with regular DVD players. DVD players were actually being used professionally, at least in the mobile type field. But one of the cool things about the Whoa That's Huge is, first of all, it isn't for everybody. It is a big money maker, but it can be very versatile. Now what you're seeing here is, again, you're seeing the freaks, the strokes, you're seeing the moving heads, and then we built a wall very similar to this, but we did it with the Megatron profiles. The Megatron power profiles are uplight of choice because the cost, they're so low, we can buy a few hundred of them and use them for all our DJs and not worry about, having to years for them. But then we also used the leftover ones to create this last-minute video wall. The school came up to us and said, hey, we want to have something really cool behind us, or behind your area to make it look like the nightclub theme we want. So we took all those spare uprights, we reprogrammed them quickly, and then we had a show like that. So we were able to go from something like this to this particular setup, but because of the programming, the way we designed it, people kept their tradition, or people kept their view of us. They knew, okay, well, this is a premiere. The entire gym is flooded. Weddings too, or not just from schools, also for weddings. I'm surprised at the number of people that skip out on floods. And if you guys don't have floods, I really recommend looking into getting yourself a good flood. That is the foundation of any good light show. Because when you can go up to a bride and say, we can flood the whole room in a nice pretty pink or blue or whatever their colors are. When you go up to a school and you tell the students, I can keep all the lights in the gym off, and then you look at a teacher and say, but it's still going to be bright enough in there, it's going to be an instant sale. LED lights, LED black lights, excuse me, that's one of the big sellers. True UVs, meaning no visible light. LED still emits a little bit of visible light, but that's okay, because at a school dance, has anybody here ever heard a teacher say, I want all the lights to be off? Which you have to do that for UV. So I tell them, look, I know you don't like doing the UV because all the lights have to spots. We chose the pros. The pros give us everything that we need, and within 4 or 5 days they already, because of what we charge, not just because of the moving effects, but hey, you want a wall gobo? Great. Or you want to do wall patterns? Great. You guys know David Totero, right, with Platinum Weddings? You know the really pretty skull gobo that he has, that he projects all over the place? We got to copy that gobo. You can buy from most gobo dealers. And one moving head covers an entire wall. So that's one of the things that we like about this particular fixture. So again, my name is Arnoldo, Offermann, Master School Dances. If you guys have any questions, email me there or check us out on American DJ. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
One more time, how about a big round of applause for Arnoldo Offermann. Ladies and gents, once again, welcome here to the ADJ Planet DJ booth. I'm Sparky B with you. I'm actually doing the last seminar of the day. If you want to be back here in about an hour at 2:40, I'm going to jump up here on stage. We're going to give away a bunch of